Yo, Breaking Bad. For a time, it was one of those shows that literally everyone was talking about, and it it just seemed to be this underground phenomenon. It came out of nowhere. It was one of the shows that practically everyone was talking about, and I'll be honest, I didn't see it for quite a while. I mean, I I didn't get quite as drawn into it kind of first time around as everyone else did, but I did kind of feel side effects of it. People were talking about it. I thought it sounded interesting, and I even watched some of the things that came around with it, such as I personally loved the MythBusters Breaking Bad special. That to me is kind of one of my favorite episodes of MythBusters. But Breaking Bad itself was kind of another one that I thought maybe I should watch for a while, but then something always got in the way or I always got distracted. But like Game of Thrones, I kind of felt I had to watch it at some point, so when 2018 rolled around, I put the first season of Breaking Bad on my 2018 watch list, along with shows like the second season of The X Files and the first series of Torchwood. Now, over time, my watch list has grown throughout this past year, and I have added new shows to it, and also taken old ones off as I've watched them through. But I finally managed to kind of sit down, watch all of the first season of Breaking Bad, and while I don't know if I'm entirely on the same level as everybody else, I do think it's still quite an impressive show for what it was. Yeah, for those who have somehow been living under a rock for many years, Breaking Bad was a show in which Bryan Cranston plays a teacher named Walter White who is diagnosed with lung cancer, and in order to kind of provide enough money for his family, he gets together with an old student of his, Jesse Pinkman, played by Aaron Paul, and and, and together they start cooking crystal meth using chemistry. Now, I'll be honest, probably one of the main reasons that maybe this didn't click for me as it did with everyone else is that I don't have that quite high knowledge of chemistry. I mean, I've had people in my family and people have close friends who were interested in chemistry and probably enjoyed the show much more, but I only have a working knowledge of chemistry. But so some of the stuff that they talked about, such as in the final episode with thermite, that I understood since I have seen kind of the effects of thermite before in other shows or in other areas. But if aside from some of the kind of more basic stuff, I don't know about it. But I still admit it is a very good show. I mean, I personally feel like quite a few TV shows I've done in my past, with the first season at least, it goes through a dip, as I see it. I mean, the first few episodes are okay. The kind of middle episodes, particularly when kind of Walt and Jesse are apart and they're kind of not cooking together, those I feel can get a little bit slow, but then the last few episodes I feel are just brilliant. I mean, the point I think when the show actually kind of showed its hand, and I mean this pun quite literally, was the penultimate episode of the first season, Crazy Handful of Nothing. That to me was when the show showed its hand, and as I say, I mean the pun there, because that's when the show I think showed what it could really be. It's also the point when Walt kind of shaves his head with his hair loss. He finally decides to kind of shave it off and becomes the character of Heisenberg. That I feel is just a shining moment. I mean, while I have seen them in kind of other projects as well, while I don't know that I'm the biggest fan of this show, I think the two main actors of it, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul, both of them are powerhouse actors. And as I said, when the middle episodes when they're kind of not together, that they can go a bit slow. But when the two of them are on screen together, going through what they do, they, they're brilliant. Okay, they have such great chemistry. Another pun. I'm sorry, but they work off each other so well, and they do have this kind of dynamic of the teacher and the students kind of working through it. And I do feel it is a very good show. Unlike as I said, I'm probably not the biggest fan of it, but I think when compared to another show that other people were talking about for years that I tried out last year, Game of Thrones, with Break when comparing Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad, with Game of Thrones, I was a total newcomer to it. I had never seen an episode, so I kind of bought the first season of it, sat down, watched it through, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. I don't know. And I thought to myself, well, it's probably okay, but personally, I don't feel the need to get the next series. However, since with my family, I've got the whole run of Breaking, the entire series of Breaking Bad. I feel it's interesting enough that I don't know if I'd watch it all the time, but I do think it's another show that I could probably dip back into over time. And I do think it's got kind of an educational and scientific edge to it, but with very much an air of do not try this at home. And I do think it is a very interesting show, and I think I may check it out again from time to time. So my opinions from the first season of Breaking Bad, not my favourite, but I can definitely see that it has got some good sides to it. I mean, I think I'd put it on the same level that I did with kind of Torchwood and The X Files. Of it's a show that I feel you have to pace yourself with. Like I usually kind of watched one episode a day. Kind of I watch one episode and then kind of switch to something else more light-hearted because I do feel you need kind of time to process it. But as I said, it is a very good show, and I do think it's one that I come back to. My opinion? Yeah, good to go. So yeah.